Over the years, DC has run into some publication problems in which certain storylines weren't coming out as fast as they originally intended. During this period, they had a famous book known as Doomsday Clock, but it kept getting pushed back. In order to fill their publication line, they came up with a quick storyline known as the Heroes in Crisis, which explores the concept of PTSD inside of your favorite superheroes, and what if their trauma pushes them too far. This is the full story channel of Comicstorian.
Gordon, Nebraska. Booster Gold thanks the diner waitress as she refills his cup of coffee. One of the other customers pauses with his cup inches from his mouth, his eyes staring out the window. Shirley, there's another hero coming, he stammers as Harley Quinn peers through that window. The bell over the door jingles as Booster remarks, "That's not a hero, that's a villain." The only thing that Shirley wants to know is there going to be a fight? And Booster nods. Yeah, there's going to be a fight. Meanwhile, from before, the cameras roll as Harley Quinn starts her confession. The truth is that Harley doesn't believe in trauma. Everyone believes it's a thing that's real, but after all those years of hearing and listening to it from her patients, what she really should have been doing is beating them with a sledgehammer. She laughs, but the laughter doesn't stop, and she starts to cry. Meanwhile, back at the diner, Harley is trying to decide what to eat while Booster is finishing his coffee. She finally decides on some peach pie and coffee, and Shirley heads off to get it. As Harley drinks her coffee, she turns to Booster. "Can I tell you a secret, Goldie?" "You promise not to tell?" Booster promises. "I hate pudding." With those words, Shirley brings over the peach pie, and Harley takes a bite. It's delicious. Elsewhere in Nebraska, Superman has arrived with the sound of an echoing boom displaying his speed. "All right, I'm here." He speaks over the comm as he circles over the lonely farmhouse in the middle of a cornfield. A flock of ravens take flight as he approaches. Meanwhile, from before, the cameras roll as Blue Jay starts his confession. "I'm Blue Jay and I shrink." He controls it really well, until recently that is. He can't control it, he can't go to sleep at night. He'll go to sleep at night just to wake up small, drowning in his sheets. He knows it comes from his memory of Silver Sorceress and that arrow. He knows that's where it comes from, but he can't stop and he doesn't want to drown. Meanwhile, back in the diner, Harley finishes her pie and she begins a quote. She conjured the most evil demon, and she came through very scathed. Pulling out her butter knife, she stabs Booster in the ribs, throwing him off his bar stool as she begins to sing. He hits the ground as she stabs him again, but he manages to get his forearm between the knife and his stomach, probably saving his life. She brings the knife up again, preparing for another thrust, but Booster uses an energy blast, blowing out the windows in the diner. She struggles to her feet, warning that she's going to hurt Booster as she uses his blood like camo paint. "I'm 13 minutes out, don't touch anything." Batman responds to Superman's radio check-in. Bruce, he knows. Wonder Woman chimes in as she flies as quickly as possible to their location. Superman stumbles over his words, barely mumbling a response as he looks over the carnage before him. The bodies of several heroes, their friends, laid out in the cornfield, dried blood covering their wounds. Before, the camera rolls as Hotspot starts his confession. He has a catchphrase. "I'm just warming up." He hopes it's good. He uses it a lot. He uses it when he gets in a fight, when he gets scared. It helps to have something to say. Even if you go out, people will remember you. And at our current day, Superman stands over the body of Hotspot, confirming his death as Batman and Wonder Woman arrive. There's a thing that he would say, wasn't there? I can't remember. Superman asks as he kneels before his fallen comrade. But elsewhere, Booster fires an energy blast at Harley as she charges at him. She's quick, she's nimble, dodging out of the way as she draws ever closer with her knife. A knee to the face knocks Booster back, but he recovers, throwing her to the ground, holding her by the throat. "Haven't you done enough?" Harley's simple response is, "No." "Fine." He decides that he has taken her to the Hall of Justice, and with that they leap into the sky. Superman has arrived at Sanctuary. Dried blood stains the walls of the simple house. He floats forward. There's no sign of the greeter. "I'm going in." The door swings open, and the bodies of Wally West and Roy Harper, they just lay there, just laid out inside. Arsenal and Flash are confirmed. Before, the cameras roll as Arsenal starts his confession. "I'm Arsenal, and a superhero and an addict. So, two things. Roy started shooting up for his health. He doesn't have powers, so he would get hurt a lot. Because of the pain, the doctors gave him pills. Lots of pills. So many pills that he was killing his kidneys. He switched to needles to save his kidneys. Isn't that what superheroes do? Save things? Booster and Harley begin to fly higher and higher, but she is squirming free, knife at his throat. Do it and we'll both fall. He struggles, yet Harley knows, rearing back, stabbing the knife into his ribs. Booster, he wasn't lying, and they both begin to tumble out of the sky. Back at Sanctuary, Superman averts his eyes from the carnage around him. Batman and Wonder Woman close by. The wall behind the bodies of the greeter is marred by graffiti that states, "The puddlers are all dead." Wonder Woman explains that the puddlers are someone who removes the impurities so that the iron can be strong. They survey the scene, and Batman knows that their chance of helping their friends has become another hunt for vengeance. Elsewhere, Harley and Booster have crashed. Booster doesn't understand. How could she do that to all those people who were just trying to get help? And Harley looks at him. She didn't kill them. He did. Before the camera starts to roll as Booster puts on his best superhero voice. "I'm Booster Gold. I'm the greatest hero you've never heard of. And I'm in Sanctuary, the super reality therapist built by Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, designed to help superheroes who are messed up from fighting too much, from seeing too much. Like Booster Gold. Okay, I'm here. I'm talking. Help me." The camera begins to roll as Poison Ivy begins her confession. "Obviously, I shouldn't be here. You're made for heroes. Ivy isn't a hero, she's a terrorist. She fights Batman with vines and kisses. She knows that she shouldn't be here, but Harley said, "I sure did." And with her name mentioned, Harley appears springing in and interrupting the confession. Pamela starts to yell, "Harley shouldn't be here. No one else is supposed to know where here is." And Harley replies with a simple boop. Pamela gives up. Doesn't matter what she says. Harley boops her again. Meanwhile, Penguins stare downward as Harley pushes forward, leaving a trail of blood behind her. "Oh, hello." Penguin smiles down to her from over his food. Harley knows that he's in the middle of dinner, but she needs his help. "Who's coming for you?" He sneers as he wipes his hideously toothed mouth. Harley can't be sure, but she thinks everyone. Meanwhile, with our heroes, "You know," Superman states as he stares down at his reflection in Commander Steele's shiny uniform. "I don't," is the simple reply from Batman, who doesn't even bother to look up from his work on the body. And standing over them, Wonder Woman agrees with Superman. "You're Batman, you know." Yet Batman stands by his statement. Sanctuary was designed so that the heroes could openly confess their pain and feelings. It was designed so that they would feel safe giving out this information. Nothing was saved after every confessional from the heroes. The tapes were erased. Batman doesn't know who did this, but it's Batman. He's done this before. He prepares. He built a back door. He must have. Except he didn't. It needed to be anonymous. So if it stayed anonymous, he was there. Often. Batman finishes his autopsy, with Commander Steele's impenetrable skin still intact. He died when someone forced him to swallow something. The bloody remains are pulled free, and they see that he swallowed joke teeth. Meanwhile, before all this, the camera rolls on Batman. He stands in the back, finally removing his mask, and he sits. Batman has spent years training partners to fight by his side, and he's watched so many of them die. His family die. "I'm sorry." Back in our current time, though, Booster Gold awakens in a cornfield as his robotic sidekick Skeets yells at him. "Hey Skeets, what's up?" Booster is the one who sent him the emergency signal, which brought Skeets running, and he found Booster dying in the field. He managed to heal him, so maybe should be answering what is up. Booster sits yawning, filling in Skeets on the last couple of hours. You know, everyone dying at Sanctuary, him fighting Harley Quinn, the usual. Meanwhile, back at Harley, she's amusing herself by playing Go Fish with a penguin. Somehow the penguin is winning. The ceiling explodes with a sound of cracking wood, and Harley is greeted by the arrival of the Trinity, Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. She introduces them to her penguin friend. Back with Booster, he's flying through the air, questioning whether he should turn himself in. "You should absolutely turn yourself in," Skeets answers. "But if he turns himself in, the others will think that he did it, and maybe he didn't. They also might think that he did it, and maybe he did. Really, there's only one thing to do. Ask yourself, what would Batman do?" And with those words, Booster decides to solve the mystery. Back with Harley, she's been found out, which is surprising since she got her safe house from the most gossip-driven supervillain in Gotham. She grabs Wonder Woman in a big hug, explaining to her the horror of Booster Gold killing everyone. She knows that they won't believe her, but she wants them to know the truth before the fight begins. It wasn't her. It was Booster. She snags Wonder Woman's lasso of truth, flipping away. Batman reacts, missing the nimble Harley and allowing her to slip the lasso around his neck. She pins him down. She begins to choke him with it. Harley needs whatever Batman has to fight Superman with, but Superman knows that Batman wouldn't have any kryptonite on him. He asked, and Batman is his friend, right? Superman would have no reason to not trust him, except third pouch on the left, lead container. Batman struggles. Harley pulls free the kryptonite rock that Batman is carrying, staggering Superman to his knees, managing to escape after he falls. I leave you with one thought. Booster Gold did it. Before the cameras roll. Wonder Woman has had many nightmares, thoughts, and feelings from her life, but there are others that need sanctuary more than her. When the nightmares come, she stands strong and she bites her lip. Thank you. Meanwhile, in the present day, Booster Gold has decided that he just needs help. He needs to figure this out. He's going to need the help of some of the best detectives in the DC universe. Booster has gone to Flash for help. He wants to do what Batman would do. He needs to know about the bodies, if the Flash has done the autopsy yet. Except, as Booster is stumbling over his words, as he can't quite get a proper sentence out, Barry doesn't know what he's talking about. When the Flash realizes that Booster is talking about an injured, possibly dead Wally West, he zooms away, lightning streaking behind him. He's back in mere moments when he discovers the truth, that Wally West died, with his fist connecting with Booster's jaw. What did you do? He screams as Booster hits the ground. Back at the warehouse, Superman sees what Flash is doing, and he moves to stop him. On the bridge overlooking the water, Harley mourns the loss of her girlfriend Poison Ivy. She was the one who told Ivy to go to Sanctuary, that no harm would befall her, that she'd be safe, that they could fix her. But over at the Daily Planet, Lois Lane is trying to finish up a story that she's been working on. She's barely listening as someone drops off the mail, including a package from an unknown source. Our heroes are hiding the truth from us. Here is the truth. More truths will come. Signed, The Puddlers. But here's before, when the cameras rolled and Superman lives with two identities. One is the flawed human known as Clark Kent, and the other is a perfect hero, Superman. But which is he really? Is Clark just Superman pretending to be flawed, or is Superman just Clark trying to be perfect? He doesn't talk about these things. He can't, because what if this kind of thing got out? Lagoon Boy, master of the lagoon. He's been at Sanctuary 3 months now. The blast rips through his body, throwing him to the ground, and as he struggles to get up, he simply says, again. The blast hits him again, and from the ground he questions how many times the laser has hit him since he's been here. Sanctuary answers, 337 times. That's a lot. Smoke curls into the air from the blast that hit his chest. He sees the battle all the time. His teammates being hurt, the laser hitting him. When he's awake, when he's asleep, over and over again. It's 337 times here. Yet, for Lagoon Boy, it's always. He stands back up. It feels better for it to actually be happening, even if it's not real. It's better than just having to replay it in his own mind over and over. One of these times, maybe it won't hurt. Maybe it won't hit him. Maybe he'll realize that the laser isn't real and that it doesn't hurt anymore. But that laser, it hits him again and again. Time passes, and finally, Lagoon Boy is done for the day. He's tired. I'll come back tomorrow, he tells Sanctuary as he walks away. Suddenly, emergency warnings begin to blare throughout Sanctuary. Wally West, the Flash. He's been at Sanctuary for 2.5 weeks now. He lays in his bed telling himself not to be scared as he holds the psycho pirate mask over his face. He asks Sanctuary to bring him to the backyard to see Linda. Why here? Why this place? Linda and the kids run to him. They're happy to see him, all hugs and smiles, and they stand before Captain Cold, his weapon pointed at them. His kids Jai and Iris are suited up. Ready? He asks. They are. They love him. I love you too. He smiles. He's now tucking them into bed at night, kissing them gently on the forehead. After once again telling them the story of how he got his powers, they love that story. It's one of their favorites. But emergency warnings begin to blare throughout Sanctuary. Now it's Booster Gold's first day. He's greeted by Sanctuary as he floats closer. This is going to be great. He's going to have a good time. They explain the rules, Everyone in Sanctuary is anonymous. Everyone is able to say whatever they want. And this is the place that you can go, that you can just spill the beans. Outstanding, Booster says with all smiles. It's going to be great. They show him to his room. Swell! They leave him to himself with Booster quietly sitting on his bed, his head in his hands. He's now in one of those therapy chambers, sitting across from himself. This, he gestures to himself, this is what you came up with. But Booster begins to argue with himself, judging himself, hitting himself. That's when the emergency alarms began to blare. But Booster can't stop hitting himself. He hates himself. Outside, Lagoon Boy has discovered the bodies, with the spear piercing his chest where the laser used to hit. He stares down in shock at all of that blood. He begins to laugh. He can't stop laughing. And he falls. Wally is cradling the body of Roy Harper. He should have been there to stop this, but the kids... Wally just didn't want to be alone. And that's when Harley's hammer falls down on top of his head, cracking his skull. She looks up to see Booster. I didn't know you were here. She smiles. He stares dumbly down at her. It's my first day, he stammers. Harley wonders how it's going so far. You know, not great. Everyone's dead. But back before the cameras roll, and we begin to see everyone that showed up, everyone that had to come here, and how long they've been here. How much time do you need to get over your grief, your problems, your issues? How much time does it take to heal? Well, these individuals are still there, or they were. Commander Steele, 3 weeks. Gunfire's been there for 6 days. Tattooed Man, 2 months. Narc, 12 days. Red Devil, 1 month. Protector, he's been there for 4 weeks. Poison Ivy, 9 days. Solstice, 11 weeks. And Nemesis has been there for a week. We were Titans! Tempest cries, raising his umpteenth shot into the air. He drinks and he slumps, spilling alcohol on his face. Get up, Tempest. We're leaving. The voice of his friends tell him, but he can't walk. Maybe he can swim? Donna Troy's there for her friend, though, throwing the Titan over her shoulder as they walk out. But out in the fields outside of Sanctuary, Flash and Batman are discussing the case. All the evidence is clear. They know who did it. One of them says Booster, one of them says Harley. And they look at each other. Crap! Booster has been brought in. The lasso of truth encircles his wrist. Start from the beginning, Wonder Woman orders him. They go back over the chain of events. Alarms blared. He left Sanctuary. Harley hit Wally with her hammer. She stood over the body. She laughed. And then she hit Booster. His shield didn't work, so she hit him again. He was the only one that woke up. This is when you ran away? No, he flew away. Meanwhile, Lois wants to know what Clark wants her to do, but he doesn't know. Every day, a new confession from Sanctuary comes from this mysterious group. They're sending it to Lois to broadcast to the world. The Puddlers know. If she does nothing with it, they will move on to another reporter. Someone else will publish everything. Lois and Clark, they lay back down, husband and wife. I know, I just don't know. But before the cameras roll again, wordlessly, Batgirl stands up. She shows the external scars, the wounds from where the Joker shot her. Entry, exit. Elsewhere, in the current day, in the Hall of Mirrors, Harley Quinn meets Batgirl. Hey, Harley. No time is wasted, though, with Harley leaping at the hero, shattering the mirrors around them. Batgirl tries to explain that that's not why she's here. She's not here to bring in Harley. But Harley doesn't listen. A vicious kick connects with Batgirl's jaw, but she stops the next punch. She's trying to help. How long is it going to be before Batman figures out where she is? Batgirl knows that they think she did it. She knows what Harley saw. She knows that she's been hurting. The two take a breath and they calm down. And they pull each other in. Hey, girl Bat. It isn't a hug of love or untold feelings. It's an embrace of two people who have seen pain, who have felt trauma. Hey, Harley. How you doing? Before, though, the cameras roll. Black Canary curses and she gets up. She'll deal with the pain herself, the way she always has. But in our current day, Ted Cord the Blue Beetle asks, did you do it, Booster? Booster took the lasso test, but Wonder Woman thinks that maybe he just believes he didn't do it. The lasso compels you to tell the truth, but if you believe that that is the truth, you're not lying. The two old friends sit in his cell, talking it over. You know what? They should get out there. They should solve this mystery, the blue and the gold. But Booster doesn't think so. The big leagues want him here, so he should stay here. Beetle agrees, but then the wall behind him explodes, giving them the perfect escape. Bros before heroes. he says as the bug comes hovering into view. But before, the cameras roll. Being a hero is a lot of hitting and getting hit, and sometimes you die. You get used to it or you don't. Everyone deals with it in their own way. Blue Beetle's way? He has Booster, his friend. Most people just dismiss him, but for Blue Beetle, Booster's the guy that's always been there. A friend. The blue and the gold. In her current day, though, Wonder Woman hears the news of Booster's escape. She turns, her fist connecting with Batman's giant penny. The penny tilts, and it falls, landing on one of the many Batmobiles below. Batman watches, and then he turns over his shoulder to speak to Superman. You couldn't have helped with that. There's something else. Clark turns to them, their friend, their confidant. Something that they aren't going to like. I'll hide the dinosaur. Clark finally tells them that the Sanctuary videos are being sent to Lois, the confessions. There can't be videos, Batman denies. Every piece of data at Sanctuary is deleted. That's why they can't confirm the killer. But Superman has seen them. He's known for days. He just couldn't tell his friends. He couldn't break the news to them that their secrets are out in the world. Anger fills Batman as he jabs the Man of Steel on the chest. We should have known about this. We could have already been investigating it. There's no time to stop this. The story's already gone live. And as they move through the city, Harley Quinn and Batgirl get word of the story breaking. That news of Sanctuary has hit the world. That everyone is about to know that their infallible heroes aren't so infallible. The world itself is about to change. All right, good. The world needs changing. The Batcave. Batman stands over the body of Wally West, a surgical scalpel in his hand. The blade hovers over the hero's skin, but he can't do it, and Batman walks away. Oolong Island. The Justice League is in a heated battle with the Justice League of Amazo, android versions of the team created by Professor Ivo. Wonder Woman is pissed that someone would activate these robots while Green Lantern merely wants to take bets on who can bring down their counterpart first. Batman doesn't hesitate, and he defeats his with some well-placed batarangs. Oh, come on, yours had no powers, Batman, Superman remarks as his own Amazo's arm explodes when it tries to punch the Man of Steel's chest. Before Batman's eyes, Superman's visage flashes and he's looking at the hero known as Commander Steel, a hero who died during the Sanctuary incident. Batman stares stunned, but just as quickly the image is gone and Superman is standing there. Batman, you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Shrugging it off, Batman tells Superman to stay on mission, with the rest of the team remarking that he's just grumpy because the sun's out. Off the team channel, Batman reaches to Alfred in the Batcave, telling him to look for any hallucinations in his system. But his faithful butler tells him that he just needs a good night's sleep as Amazo Flash rushes him from behind. Before any of the other League members can assist him, Batman jumps over the android's head, unclipping his utility belt and wrapping it around the android's throat. Driving his knee into its back, he pulls with all of his strength. Images of Sanctuary flash through his vision until he finally rips off Flash Amazo's head. The League stands victorious, all exhausted with what seems like endless emergencies. They turn, but Batman is already gone. Green Lantern looks over at the Flash, wondering if he wants to grab a bite to eat. Without a response, the fastest man alive merely leaves, gone at a streak of lightning. It's nothing personal, though. Both Batman and the Flash are wrapped up in the tragedy of Sanctuary. Flash lost Wally West while both he and Batman have been working on the investigation. They've both come up with zero answers. Later at the Flash Museum, the crowds are gathering, as they always do, for the museum of one of the most beloved heroes in the Justice League. As the patrons are enjoying the various displays from the history of the Flash, the building suddenly shakes as something impacts with the ceiling. The building quakes and the destruction rains down on the people below. And in the dust and shadows, a lone caped figure looks up at the crowds. Run. Panic fills the air as the people begin to flee in fear. Inside, a man grabs his daughter, trying to dodge the destruction as they flee out of the building. And his daughter points. Flash! She yells, but he keeps running. The Flash isn't there, but she points again. Outside, the massive Flash statue begins to fall as its leg is snapped in half. The man turns, trying to shield his daughter from their inevitable fate. But that's when they're pulled free as Batman swings in, and once they are safely away, Batman wordlessly stalks into the museum, drawing his batarangs for a fight. But the room, it's empty. A noise behind him causes Batman to turn, throwing his batarangs, but the Flash merely catches them. He isn't here to fight, and he's surprised that he was able to sneak up on Batman. The person who did this is gone. Flash understands, but their work isn't done, and he speeds outside, helping those he can by giving them first aid and food. No matter how crazy things get, it makes them feel better when they see a smile. Batman watches the fastest man alive, seeing images of Wally once more. He was on his way back to Gotham when he heard the alarms. Flash understands he needs to gather evidence so Batman can go ahead and pull his vanishing act. We can tackle this case together, like the old days. The words bring memories of the past when Flash and Kid Flash worked with Batman and Robin. Images of Wally laughing and joking, they're painful, and they bring silence from Barry. Barry has dealt with many mysteries in his career, and he's sick of lies. He knows Batman wasn't just passing. I want the truth now. Batman admits it, he knew the attack was coming. Similar attacks have happened around Gotham. Small, really, no injuries. Clearly, things are escalating. Who? Barry asks. So Batman tells him that he thinks it's Gotham Girl, a former hero who was manipulated by Psycho Pirate alongside her brother. Her powers would have killed her, so Batman benched her. They don't know why she's attacking, but they have to find her. And in her secret lair, Gotham Girl moves forward through the shadow. The Flash is involved now, and a big smile crosses her face. Nothing will stop her from becoming a hero. Nothing will stop her from saving her brother. She speaks to her brother, but he barely listens. Tubes pump green liquid into his body as he slumps to the floor. Help me! He struggles as his head falls. Gotham Girl begs him to stay with her, but she also seems to be speaking to someone in the shadows. Someone who promised to help her, to help bring Gotham back, to help become the heroes again. Back at the Flash Museum, Batman and Flash continue to work the crime scene. While they're both helping, the stress of Sanctuary has taken its toll on their teamwork, and they're both lost in their own thoughts. The two of them are doing their best, but seeing each other only reminds them of what they can't solve. Despite these thoughts, they're both excellent detectives, and a leaf points them in the direction of the Caribbean. The only question now is, can the top-speed Batwing keep up with the Flash? The island seems deserted, as if no one's been there for years. But a quick run around by the Flash reveals footprints and a plant that they found at the museum. Also, there's a giant evil-looking fortress, and that seems to be a really big clue. Before they can decide how to proceed, a call comes over Barry's comms. The two begin to walk in, as the voice of Iris asks Barry where is he. They're supposed to talk to Wallace about what happened to Wally today. But knowing that he's working with Batman only makes Iris angry, and Barry hangs up after she asks him to pass along a message. One that he'd rather not relay to Batman. Further into the base, the two heroes discover a room full of obsession. Pictures of the Justice League lining the walls, images of the heroes in action saving people. Gotham Girl and her brother were saved by Batman when they were younger. They wanted to become heroes like him, save others in the world, but their powers were killing them. After her brother's death, Batman forced her to stop being a hero. I told her it was because she would die from using her powers. But the reality was, I didn't want this life for her. But it didn't matter. Both Bruce and Barry know that if someone wants to be a hero, nothing can stop them. These words would bring back Flash's memories of when Wally first got his powers. Of their first conversations about Wally's costume. Who made Gotham and Gotham Girl's costumes? Barry asks. They didn't do it themselves. Barry helped Wally. Alfred helped the Robins. Somebody was there for them. Somebody helped them. For the world's greatest detective, you sure miss a lot, Batman. Is this really the time to bring up Sanctuary? The Dark Knight questions, but the two are interrupted by a strange buzzing sound coming from deeper within the fortress. Moving into another chamber, they find cryotubes, and the bodies within are slumped over, dead. Barry finds two tubes that are unoccupied and opened. The chemicals within aren't supernatural. Barry can quickly determine the chemical compounds. They all have one base: venom, the thing that Bane uses to power up his abilities. Batman is immediately on guard. This place is a trap. Somebody wanted them to find these bodies. Suddenly, Flash stops, his question coming from the other side of the room. He turns, and one of Sanctuary's masks are in his hands. Did Gotham Girl ever go to Sanctuary? But Batman knows that if that mask is here, it's because somebody wanted them to find it. He continues to scan the room, batarang ready, but Flash won't let it go. He's suddenly beside Batman, repeating the question, did Gotham Girl go to Sanctuary? There's no time for a response, though, as the wall beside them crumbles, and Gotham Girl comes flying in through the rubble. Batman tries to talk to her. No one was hurt in the other attacks. She can stop this. The Flash tries to stop her as she makes her way to the super venom, but Gotham Girl is fast and strong and simply backhands him away. Plugging the vial into the machine causes a reaction, and suddenly the tubes open up as Batman and Flash watch the preserved experiments moving towards them. Gotham Girl floats over them. Your lives inspire others to be heroes. Now these prototypes wish to prove themselves. The strange, superpowered zombies begin to attack the heroes, with the Flash's fists moving in a blur. They don't understand if she continues to use her powers, she'll die. Gotham Girl agrees, but she'll die a hero. Shouldn't I want to die a hero? Batman continues to fight to reach her. Her brother wouldn't have wanted this. Claire orders him not to talk about her brother, and with these final words, she leaves our heroes to their fight. Claire can feel her powers breaking down her body as she flies through the night air. But she didn't have a cool origin story, so she needs one. She pushes through the pain, pushing herself faster through the sky. If she is to be a great hero, she's going to need a great origin story. Back at the island fortress, though, in a massive battle, Batman and Flash continue their fight. They're fighting super serum zombies that aren't alive, so Batman orders Flash not to hold back. Problem is, this is like fighting an army of undead supermen, and they're running out of time. Despite the fight, though, Flash wants to know the important question as he found a Psycho Pirate mask right here in this battle. Did Batman bring Gotham Girl to Sanctuary? Could she be the cause of the death of their friends? Batman tells him, I don't know how she got that mask. We have to stop following her plan and come up with one of our own. Whoever is behind Gotham Girl is using her and the events of Sanctuary to hide their actions. They need to make the zombies burn themselves out, as the powers of Gotham and Gotham Girl kill them slowly as they use the abilities. These, being imperfect zombies, will burn out faster than the normal people of Gotham and Gotham Girl. Hopping onto Flash's back, Batman uses himself as bait, forcing the creatures to chase after them. The zombies follow them as they zip around the base, and one by one they burn out bright, until finally the last one falls. But for Flash, it's a hollow victory. All these people wanted was to be heroes. The Flash turns on Batman, anger in his words. This is your fault! Another mystery built by you that bites the rest of us in the ass! He turns to leave. He needs to be at Central City and stop whatever Gotham Girl is planning. And Batman can't stop him as gravel hits his face with Barry speeding away. Back at the Central City PD headquarters, Iris West is searching for a picture of her, Barry, and Wally. After finding what she wanted, she moves to leave the building, when suddenly the roof collapses as Gotham Girl lands in the room. But Flash is there, ordering her to stop as he moves around, helping people. Whoever put you up to this, you don't need to do what they say. The woman just laughs at him, though. If he just left Batman behind, well, that wasn't very heroic, was it, Flash? Flash tries to get through to her. He knows that losing her brother hurts. He lost someone too. He would have told Wally to stop being a hero if he could, but he knew Wally West wouldn't listen. Just like he knows that this destruction will not bring Gotham back. But these words only bring a smile to Gotham Girl's lips. Gotham isn't dead. And from behind her, the hero once known as Gotham floats into the room. The last time that we saw each other, Flash, I took down the whole Justice League. Do you think you have a chance? Gotham finishes his taunt by flying across the room, his fist aimed towards the Flash's head. Luckily, the Flash is fast and avoids the blow. But back on the island, Batman has finally reached the Batwing and he orders it to head over to Central City at top speed. In our fight, though, the Flash continues to avoid Gotham's blows, trying to reach the former hero and his sister. They are both going to die if they continue to use their powers. He doesn't understand. Batman and the Flash are trying to help him. But the Flash gets distracted when he sees Iris, and a punch from Gotham sends him careening out of the building, bouncing off one another until he finally lands on a taxi in the street below. Gotham lifts the hero up from the wreckage. They used to look up to the Flash as well, debating whether they should have super speed or flight. Luckily, we got it all. In the Batwing, the warning lights are flashing as the engines are being strained. Batman ignores it, pushing onward, with Alfred coming over the comms, warning Bruce, "You need to eject, sir." Suddenly, Gotham drops Flash as his body begins to break. He seems to be melting right before their eyes. Gotham Girl holds her brother in her arms as he becomes a husk of what he once was. He promised it would be different this time. She begins to cry. Iris helps Barry to his feet, asking whether Gotham Girl was the one who killed Gotham. But Barry knows that she is just innocent. Gotham Girl continues to cry, tears flowing down her face. Her brother was too far gone. He was already dead. And she whirls in the Flash, her fist raised. "Just like you!" But she's suddenly stopped as a bolo wraps around her neck, exploding around her head. It barely slows her, though, as Batman lands on the pavement before them. He tries to reach her. He tries to make her see that living the life of a hero is hard. He can still help her. "Where did you get the serum?" But it doesn't matter. Gotham Girl injects it into her neck, with her body beginning to glow as Batman yells for her to stop. But Gotham Girl knows being a hero means living with the pain, doing anything to avenge the ones you love. Before Batman, Gotham Girl rises, her body glowing with raw power. The Flash continues to drag people out of the wreckage as Gotham Girl unleashes her new powers on the city, wiping out entire city blocks with beams from her eyes. Batman tries to get her attention. He doesn't want to hurt her, but he will if she doesn't stop. But his batarangs are nothing, snapping as they even get close to her power. Gotham Girl is sick of Batman thinking that he is in control, and she launches more energy at him. The blast would have killed him, but luckily the Flash is there to pull him free. Barry doesn't want to fight her. He wants to understand. He wants to help. They tell her to stop using her powers, but if she doesn't, she's going to die. But without her powers, Claire is nothing, and her brother knew that. Suddenly, Claire stops, her flight wavering slightly. She vomits greenish fluid seemingly exploding out of her, and she falls. The heroes rush in, performing CPR, trying to bring her back around. They won't lose another hero. They've lost too many at Sanctuary. Each sees those that they have lost as they try to bring Claire back to life. Batman offers to use the defibrillator on his belt, but Flash knows it'll take more than that, and he generates lightning with his speed. The electricity jolts through Claire, bringing her back and forcing the rest of the serum out of her body. Batman, where am I? She asks shakily. The girl, well, she remembers nothing. They should get her to the cave to help her. Like you helped Wally! The cry reaches them as Iris forces her way through the rubble. She blames them. They brought another young person into their world without any thought of the repercussions. She's not afraid of Batman. His words bring nothing but a slap to the face. The two don't have time for this. She just tells them to leave. In the Batcave, Batman has managed to replicate the stasis tubes from the island fortress, allowing Gotham Girl to stay there until her body recovers. She seems to have no memory of the island, who gave her the serum, or why she attacked the museum, but now that Flash has saved her, Batman can do what he should have done in the beginning, help her become a hero. But Barry doesn't agree. They keep bringing people into this life even though they know it's wrong. Batman questions what happened to the hopeful, optimistic Barry Allen. He died with Wally West! Batman always acts like he knows everything, but Barry knows that he's just as clueless as everyone else. The greatest trick that Batman ever pulled off was making people think that he always had a plan. We need to stop this. The price for wearing these costumes is too high. But Batman knows. We pay the price so that our loved ones don't have to. But they do pay a price. They pay the price because the heroes keep failing. It's always another mystery, another villain, another innocent in the crossfire, another dead Robin. Flash says as he begins to leave the cave, anger flashing in Bruce's eyes. At least I never forgot that one of my partners existed. Barry turns, anger in his eyes, lightning cracking. The cave can sense the danger and it begins to activate countermeasures. Energy is shot at the speedster, but he is too fast. Batman has prepared, but the Flash is too fast, stopping his fist inches from Batman's face. I could have hit you 100 times before you throw one punch, Barry says as he leaves, leaving Bruce alone in his cave. Returning home, he finds a letter from Iris. She can't stay anymore. She wanted to write Wally's obituary, but she realized that she was writing Barry's. The hero rushes out into the night, and in Central City, the Flash fights crime. In Gotham, Batman fights crime. This is the life that they lead. This is their life. They can save everyone, but in the end, they are alone. In the near future, Batman sits in front of his computer with Superman at his back. They saved the multiverse so many times, but this time it's different. They don't know who they can trust. We can trust the Flash, right? The cameras roll. Booster's gold visor is perfect. He knows that. But it isn't. There's a smudge. It's there from the time an alternate timeline Batman killed himself. It's not there. Booster knows that, but it's all he can see. The smudge, the blood. It's not as clear as he needs it. Booster and Beetle are sitting on a couch, hard at work solving the mystery. The TV lights the room in a soft haze. Finally, Booster reaches for the remote. I got it. We go to the Flash's lab, knock him out, steal all the evidence. Beetle disagrees. That's the dumbest move ever. He just busted him out of jail. But that's why it's the best move, because it's the dumbest move. No one would think about it. And with that, they clink their glasses. Back in the past, on the Sanctuary tapes, where the superheroes reveal their deepest, darkest worries, anxieties, and fear, the cameras roll. Commander Steel, I've died twice. I always seem to be brought back from the dead, and I'm back again. Probably won't stick this time either. No, I doubt it'll stick. I really do. But back in her current day, Batgirl wants to check Skeets. She's with Harley Quinn, trying to solve this mystery. He's been checked, Batman dismisses. Barbara knows, but she can put together a rig at her place to read 24th century technology. Skeets might not even know what he knows. It couldn't hurt. Fine. Batman moves off through the cave. Batgirl thanks him, but he wants to know if she finds anything. Why isn't he off making a statement with Superman and Wonder Woman? I'm Batman. I don't do press. But back in the past, with our heroes, the cameras are rolling. Solstice can't control her powers. She can't look normal for more than a few seconds. This does nothing to help her. This does not put her in a good mental state, and she screams in frustration. In our current day, Batgirl ties Skeets up so he can't get away. She knows that he knows where Booster is, but Skeet told Batman that he didn't know. No matter what, Batman wouldn't hurt him. Batgirl might. She doesn't know, but Harley Quinn, she would. Over with Booster, the glass shatters as he comes flying through Barry's window. The fastest man alive easily dodges the attack, punching Booster across the face again. What is the matter with you? Barry says, standing over Booster, ordering him to stay down. But an energy blast knocks the speedster out. No one is more surprised than Booster Gold. Ted, it worked! Superman and Wonder Woman stand before the world, the cameras beaming across the globe. They have prepared a statement about Sanctuary, about the deaths of their friends, the world's heroes having died. Throughout the world as they speak, some people mourn those that were lost, but others refuse to rest until those responsible are brought to justice. Superman tells the world about the incident at Sanctuary, about those that are wanted for more questioning, and on the concerns the people have about those that protect them. You see, Sanctuary is a place of respite, a place where those who live a life of violence may seek a moment to heal. The question is, if we need peace, are we your heroes? Somehow broken, unworthy of your trust, to acknowledge that those who fight are also vulnerable, afraid. Does that mean that you should all be afraid? Superman has seen his friends deal with this burden of being a hero on a daily basis. He's watched hundreds rise against the worst evils, taking their place as the barrier that divides the people from the chaos and death. They have stood for this world and said, today, by God, it will not fall. To do this with the knowledge of the pain that they will incur, for the scars that they will collect. The scars that they collect are not marks of a madman, but the wounds of a warrior. Thank you. Batgirl and Harley jump across the rooftops. Remember your promise. Harley agrees. She won't kill him, just murder him. That's the same thing, Batgirl explains. Harley just learned something new today. Murdering and killing are the same. Back at the lab, Booster explains to Beetle that there is something wrong with Wally's body. It isn't right. Booster memorized everything that he could about the heroes when he was a janitor. Wally is 5 days too old. With that, Batgirl and Harley come jumping through the already broken window. Hey Booster, I'm gonna massacre you! Batgirl calmly explains that that is the same thing. Harley learned a second new thing today. But what about Wally, Harley, and even Narc? What were they going through? Well, we'll come back to the current mystery later because we need to know what the heroes of Sanctuary were going through, how they dealt with things. You see, Narc doesn't know how many people he saved. He remembers the old world. Before he was a hero, before he saved people. He lays in the back of his mammoth and he looks up at the night sky. Because before this, Narc was free. Free from the chains that society had placed on him. He remembers fighting every day for his survival. Animals wanted him for dinner. Other men wanted to steal the dinner he had. And every day that he fought, his life was an endless wave of blood and death. Narc misses the old days, but it isn't awful. Now he's intelligent. Now he can read and quote the great writers and philosophers of history. With that, his confession ended, and his session ended, so Narc is ready to go home. But that's when the alarms blare. Out in the field, Narc cradles the body of the protector in his arms. They're covered in blood. He tells the young man not to be scared. His blood mixes with that of his friends, and he falls. But what about Wally on that day? What was Wally doing? Well, Wally doesn't like to talk about how many people he saved. He doesn't like to brag. But it doesn't matter. It was never enough. His number should be higher. He should save more. Wally was lost for a little while, lost and forgotten, but he made his way back, and he saw Barry again, and they hugged, with Barry asking how could he have ever forgotten him. Wally was back, but his family wasn't. His friends, they all missed him. They hugged him. How could they forget him? He was what they were missing, the thing that was gone, that they just couldn't quite remember, that thing on the tip of their tongues. He was surrounded by friends again, but his family wasn't there. Everyone was excited. Things that had seemed lost were reborn, but they weren't there. Linda, Iris, Jai, Everyone said that they were whole now, that Wally was back, but he wasn't. He wasn't whole. Without his family, he was empty. He was alone. And on that day, Wally was on the porch, cradling the body of Roy Harper in his arms, blood everywhere. And that's when the blast hit him from behind and he fell. What about Harley Quinn? What was she doing that day? Well, Harley doesn't save anyone. That's just not her thing. She broke into Sanctuary to see her friend Poison Ivy. She wasn't even supposed to be there. She was just bored. Ivy tried to help her, so they went to one of the rooms, and the Joker was standing before Harley. She hit him, and she wiped the jokes off his face, but this didn't help. Ivy will always try to help. Later, as the two of them sit in a pile of Joker bodies in a field, that's when the alarms blared, and Ivy told Harley to hide, but Harley didn't listen. Harley doesn't listen. She went over to Sanctuary, and she saw what happened. She saw the truth. She saw Booster Gold standing over the body of Wally West. I'm not supposed to be here. Wally West stands in a field of flowers, reciting poetry. He reaches down to plant a rose, energy transferring from his fingertips into the flower. Elsewhere, though, Harley takes another swing from her massive mallet as she sings about killing, but the wood just snaps as it impacts Booster Gold's shield. Batgirl and Blue Beetle stand to the side, awkwardly watching the fight, with Batgirl just holding her head in her hand. I told her like 7 times. Beetle understands. Besides, Booster has his shield, so he'll be okay. The shield holds up as Harley tries to stab the broken handle into Booster Gold's heart next, and the two continue to talk. Batgirl normally works with Batman or Nightwing, so it's not usually like this for her. I usually work with Booster, so I totally get it, Blue Beetle tells her. Meanwhile, in the past, before it all started, we see Wally smiling as the camera starts to roll. First day at Sanctuary. I already said what my problem is, so I already got that out of the way, but I'll repeat it. I'm fine. I know what's wrong with me, and I'm here. That's good, right? Meanwhile, in our current day, the Flash comes screaming through Wayne Manor, finally stopping in the Batcave. Batman swivels from his computer. Booster. It's hard to keep track of Barry as energy is crackling off of him. His words mix up into a jumble as he talks at super speed, trying to tell Bruce what happened. Yeah, Booster. But back with Harley and Booster Gold, she keeps punching, trying to get through Booster's shield. She saw him do it. She saw him kill everyone at Sanctuary. I saw you do it! I saw you do it! Booster shouts back at her, and their two friends, Batgirl and Blue Beetle, continue to watch the fight, with Beetle talking about how he managed to fix Booster's shield. I hooked it up remotely to my ship's operating system. Batgirl is intrigued. Does this mean that you've hooked his shield up directly to your consciousness? Just like your ship. So your ship and his shield stop working if you're unconscious. Yeah, exactly. It's the one problem, Batgirl. With a quick jab, Batgirl knocks out Blue Beetle. Harley, I got the shield. No killing. Booster's eyes get big as he realizes he is now defenseless, watching as Harley Quinn, the woman that he saw kill everyone, raise her fist and begin to sing about killing again. Did I not say no killing for the 8th time, Harley? Come on. But back at the end of Week 1 with Wally, talking about all of that stuff, Linda, Iris, Jai, they're all gone. And back with Batman and the Flash. Since the breakout, Batman has been monitoring all of the systems, searching for any sign of Booster and Blue Beetle. Every few seconds, the Flash will pop back in to tell him that they aren't in the countries that he's looking into. You don't have to stop there. We can use the Bat Radio. But the Flash just yells at him, I'm faster than the Bat Radio. Well, I'm not sure that's technically true. Back with Booster and Harley. Booster has given up. He screws up everything. He failed the future. He failed the past. He probably did it. Probably did kill everyone. What Harley Quinn saw probably happened, and he's just confusing it. So Harley could just kill him now. She raises the broken handle of the mallet, and Batgirl moves in to stomp her, but the blow doesn't come. The point merely drives into the floor next to Booster Gold. Harley falls to the floor beside him. A few seconds pass, and he turns to her. What's with all the rhyming? He asks. You know, I really don't know, but superheroes always talk during a fight, and it's the best that I could come up with. I'm not really that good at superheroing, she admits, and Booster just looks at her. Yeah, me neither, Harl. Week 2, back at the beginning, Wally learned that he started life as a superhero early, that his whole family disappeared in some sort of time crisis thing, and now he's back, and everyone's looking to him as a symbol of hope. Barry's looking to him. Dick Grayson's looking to him. The Titans are looking to Wally West as the one thing that brought them together. He is what is holding everyone together. He is the glue that is holding together the DC universe. And he realizes, we're really getting somewhere. Meanwhile, in another undetermined time period, Wally West snaps his fingers over the rose that he planted. He wishes he had another poem, but he was never really good with poems. Linda was good with poems. With his energy, the rose begins to grow until it's massive and it blooms, and standing before him is a newly grown poison ivy. And back in our current day, the group is now sitting on the floor, with Booster and Beetle explaining that Wally isn't actually dead. Someone's pulling him back in time, and the group needs to figure out how to stop it. How is the Wally West that died 5 days too old? Booster can use Skeets, and Beetle can boost his signal. That's good, Booster tells him. We can do this. Blue and gold and the dynamic duo! Harley smiles, but Batgirl tells her no, that is not a thing. Meanwhile, back in the undetermined time period, I'm sorry, Wally tells Poison Ivy as they kneel in a field of flowers. Ivy doesn't understand. He saved her, but he didn't. Wally hurt her. Now she has to see this, but Ivy still doesn't understand. What has she been reborn to see? What is Wally West going to show her? Death. You'll see my death. Wally West looks up into the camera as blood splatters on the wall behind him. My name is Wally West. I'm the fastest man alive. This is my confession. He begins. He had been at Sanctuary for a little over 3 weeks. He was there, like so many others, to recover. He had to look at himself to see why things hit him so hard. He was starting to get there. Like Narc, like Red Devil, like Roy, Poison Ivy, Commander Steel. It was good. I was getting there, I think. Yet, Wally realized the problem. He was alone in his pain. Sanctuary kept telling him that he wasn't alone, that everything he was going through, a lot of other heroes were going through as well. They're all heroes. They're all struggling. They're all going through this together. I didn't believe it. I feel like this pain can't be in the others, or I'd see it. I'd see them suffering like I suffer. Wally believed that he was the crazy one, that he was the messed up one, that everyone else was cool, that only he had to deal with these problems, everyone else can just get through it. It was Linda. Not her faults or anything, just the fact that he couldn't talk to her. In this timeline, his wife, she wasn't his wife, but he remembered her. He remembered that timeline. He remembered his kids. We used to share everything. She was the only one that I could talk to. I wanted to tell her and I couldn't. Wally is now running. Images of the others at Sanctuary seem to flash by, yet he believes that Sanctuary must be fake. It was all created for him. The others must be lying. Why keep it anonymous? Why not let everyone suffer together? He was the symbol of hope. The others knew what he lost, but he somehow got through it, didn't he? He runs faster and the Speed Force begins to crackle around him. He needed to see the others, yet Sanctuary wouldn't allow it. It was all anonymous, and the data for the confessions was deleted immediately. Yet that didn't matter to the fastest man alive. So Wally, he ran faster. He stared at the camera, sadness and horror on his face, and in an instant, I experienced 1,000 heroes in crisis. For an instant, I wasn't alone. And in that instant, I broke. Wally comes flying out of the house, his actions having set off the alarm system that now blares throughout Sanctuary, warning the other heroes, and they all exit immediately. Tears are streaming down Wally's face as he stops in the field outside, energy crackling around him, Speed Force flowing through his veins. He knew that they would find him, they would see what he had done, that he had looked into the anonymous tapes. The guilt filled him, and with the sight of all that pain, he lost control. The others grew closer as the Speed Force unleashed. Energy lashing out, striking everyone around him, launching them away, killing them instantly. Wally didn't wait. He ran back inside. He reprogrammed Sanctuary. He had control of it now. And quickly he finds the last two that hadn't left to see the alarm. For whatever their reason, they didn't leave, or they didn't hear it, or maybe they were busy, or they just thought the others were going to get it. But Booster Gold and Harley Quinn were left. So he moves fast, faster than they can see. Instead of leaving, he puts them back inside their chambers. Unknown to her, Harley is in her chamber, watching Booster Gold kill Wally West. It's all a simulation created by Sanctuary. But they wouldn't know that, would they? You see, Booster could then watch Harley kill Wally West, so they each watched the other one kill Wally West. But since he moved them so quickly, they wouldn't know. They had no idea they were still in the simulation. As far as they both were concerned, they were both right. Wally stole Booster's tech, jumping forward 5 days into the future, and he found himself standing in a field with the resurrected Poison Ivy. Words were exchanged. Poison Ivy looking between the two Wallys, confused. He killed himself quickly. He brought that dead Wally back in time. He runs fast, faster than anyone could have imagined, setting up a crime scene, setting it up to look like either Booster or Harley could have done it. Wally had spent his entire life working alongside one of the greatest crime scene investigators of all time. He knew what everyone would look for, so he put his body next to Roy's. It seemed right, you know. We were there at the start of things. He then runs back inside, bringing Booster Gold out first after letting him think that Harley Quinn had done it. Harley was next after seeing Booster Gold commit the murders. And then he runs back inside, destroying the Sanctuary robots. And he wrote a message on the walls. The Puddlers did it. After it was all done, Wally went back outside and sat on the front porch, head in his hands as tears fell from his eyes. Everything he had done worked. Everyone focused on the message, on the suspects that didn't commit the crime. And he once again looked up at the camera. Despite everything I'd done, I was free. Everything I had done gave me 5 days. 5 days until I would see myself to kill myself. 5 days, Miss Lane, for me to finally tell the truth to the world. Wally West kneels in a field outside of Sanctuary, the wheat gently waving around him in the gentle country breeze. As a flower floating in Gotham River, a rose. Find it, plant it, he says quietly to himself. The past Wally looks down at him. Is that it? Yeah, I guess that's it. So the past Wally leans in, taking his future self by the neck, preparing to end it. Because in order for the timeline to be closed, a Wally West needs to die. So why not take the one from the future? But instead of the timeline playing out as it's supposed to, suddenly something falls from the sky, crashing into the earth. Did it work? Is Wally still alive? Booster groans from inside a Blue Beetle ship. Beetle shifts and groans. They didn't die, so it worked better than he thought that it would. Batgirl shifts in her seat, looking over at the sleeping Harley Quinn. Harl, hun, we landed. Time to wake up. Hatch lowers, allowing the heroes to step out into the field, and Harley stretches as she exits. What'd I miss? Blue Beetle stares down at the scene, confused. So, is Flash the killer? Or is he the victim? And he's alive twice? Batgirl nods, taking in the situation quickly. Her best guess is that he did it, framed Booster and Harley using Sanctuary, then killed his future self to get a body to complete the frame, which is what we're seeing now. We just interrupted it. Booster nods. My birthday party last year turned out almost the exact same way. Suddenly, Harley turns, her eyes widening in surprise because before her, in the field, stands Poison Ivy. She thought that she had died. She thought that she had killed her. Oh, hello, Harley Quinn. How pleasant to see you. The newly formed Poison Ivy stutters as she tries to find the words. She understands that it is a shock for Harley to see her like this. Allow me to explain. This new Poison Ivy explains that while she did die, she had given Harley a piece of herself in a flower, so that we could be together when we're not together. Harley had already begun to dash across the field as Ivy was explaining. When the flower was planted, it melded with the green and she was regrown. Harley finally reaches her, wrapping her arms around the woman, pulling her in close. And Wally holds his head in his hands, tears streaming down his face. I have to kill him. The future Wally stands before him. He knows, because you messed up, because you're hurting, and most of all, because you're alone. But Wally holds out his hand, pulling the other to his feet. He knows that's what he feels in his heart right now. Because as he pulls himself into a strong embrace, and the rest of the heroes watch on, he lets himself know. You're not alone. Should we arrest him? Booster asks. He's the fastest man alive. You can't arrest them, Beetle adds. I don't think we're allowed to arrest people technically. Batgirl chimes in. I get a PhD. That means that I can arrest people. Pretty sure. Harley pipes in. We should give them sweet potatoes. Would you like sweet potatoes? Poison Ivy stutters. Despite this, Wally continues. He knows what the past Wally is feeling because he was there 5 days ago. What you need to do is talk to these people, he explains. to hear their story and tell yours. You need to understand that you're not the only one who tried to do something good and ended up doing something horrible. Not the only one to be hurt so bad that the hurt becomes a part of who you are. Who's been betrayed by a friend, who's done horrible things and will have to spend the rest of their life making up for it. You understand, right? Don't kill. Don't run. Just do what I did. Talk. Listen. No. Wally continues, still holding his past self. As bad as it is, we're in this together. Wally continues to explain he didn't want to go back in time and undo what he did. That's how he ended up in Sanctuary to begin with. Flash did that and it unmade Wally's family. But he did want to make up for what had happened. He wanted to help by showing other people like him that are hurting, that others hurt as well. Tell them about Sanctuary, to tell the people, the ones who call them heroes, what they've done. If people knew that their heroes had made mistakes, that they were getting help, maybe it would then allow those who needed it to also get help. Before it was too late, before they make mistakes like me. Yet, I needed time before they locked me away. So I did what I did and I came here to complete it, to kill you, me. Maybe by dying I can help a few people who are still living. But now Wally won't finish it. More violence won't solve anything. Superman has already come out and told people the truth. Wally doesn't need to hide anymore. And he finally finishes taking off his mask, still crying. Around him, the others are trying to figure out what to do. He didn't kill everyone on purpose, but he should still be held responsible. He still framed Harley and Booster. They stand around. The Justice League will be here in minutes. They don't know what to do. We do what we always do. We help. But it doesn't make sense now. Because if Wally doesn't kill himself, then the timeline will change and the multiverse will alter. Luckily, Booster Gold has a plan. We just have to complete the loop. We don't need a dead body. We just need a Flash body. Booster explains the loop quickly to them while the Flashes look on confused. Don't worry, it was stupid when I heard it 5 days ago, Wally says, leaning in to whisper to himself. But the question becomes, where do we get another Flash body? So Booster tells them, we just go to the 25th century and speed clone the Flash there, Booster explains. I had to do something very similar with my birthday party last year. Wally doesn't know though. He's a hero, shouldn't he sacrifice himself? Yet Booster shrugs, telling him, we may be heroes, but we're also family. He extends his arm, offering Wally a fist bump. Bros before heroes. That's when Harley steps forward, raising her arms to get everyone's attention. Isn't this nice? But before we get started and the Justice League gets here, I want to say something to the Flash, she says, crossing the short distance between them, placing her hands on his face. She knows how he feels. She's lost control in the past. She's hurt people. So she wants him to hear this from her. You framed me and killed my girl, she yells as she drives her knee into his groin. Wally falls to the ground, clutching himself. Oh, right. That happens. And it lingers, the other Wally comments. Things happen quickly. Booster and Gold bring back the cloned body of Wally so that they can be left at the scene of the crime. And the League arrives, taking Wally into custody for his actions. Now free of charges, Booster can go back to hanging out with his buddy, while Harley can reconnect with the one that she thought she had lost. Sanctuary reopens, and the cameras start to roll again, and the heroes get the help that they need.
And there's another full story right here at the Comicstorian Full Story channel. This is a channel where we just re-upload some of our underperforming ones from the other channel to appease the algorithm and see if we have a channel that only does full stories, how that would affect things. I hope you guys enjoyed it, but don't forget you can get up-to-date brand new videos by joining the main channel, Comicstorian. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.